You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, Doge, and more. Cryptocurrencies and digital assets are taking the financial world by storm. This exploding market provides everything a savvy trader needs: volatility, volume, and liquidity, provided you know how to find it. That's where we come in. Welcome to the Crypto Rundown. Each week, we'll break down the latest trading activity, trends, and developments throughout the world's leading crypto derivatives markets. If it's moving the crypto markets, then you'll find it on the Crypto Rundown. The Crypto Rundown is brought to you by Amber Data. If you're entering the digital asset class, you'll need access to granular on-chain and market data from multiple venues to power research, trading, risk management, and compliance. Amber Data delivers comprehensive data and insights into blockchain networks, crypto markets, and decentralized finance, empowering financial institutions to apply traditional finance methods to digital assets. Amber Data eliminates the infrastructure setup, integration challenges, and maintenance headaches to access digital asset data, reducing cost and time to market to enter the digital asset class. Learn more and download their digital asset data guide at www.amberdata.io. Now it's time to dive into the exploding world of crypto derivatives. It's time for the Crypto Rundown.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back once again. It is Monday. Time to talk all things crypto derivatives. Yep, it's time once again for the Crypto Rundown. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network upon which all of you folks are binging. Remember, you want to get those awesome pro Q&As. You want to get options oddities on Friday. You want to win pro trading crates like our member Eric Nelson did last week. You want to get early access to the new stuff like the new show that hit for you folks already last week. Yes, the newest addition to the network, the Hot Options Report. The rest of you will have to be waiting until later today. Only one place to get all that awesome stuff. Hang out in our chat, all kinds of fun. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more as we learn who's joining us on this historic week in the crypto markets. You know, it's crypto week. Who else could we bring on the old Crypto Rundown than our old pal, Mr. Bill, a.k.a. Bill Ulivieri from Cenacle Capital Management. Mr. Bill, welcome back to the show. Happy Crypto Week to you, sir. How are you celebrating?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me from the moon?
I can hear you from the moon. Are you bouncing around on the moon, sir?
Oh my gosh, my screen is lit with crypto prices. Some of our clients who have been deep in the foxholes, deep in the trenches for years because they were afraid of taking risk, have contacted me this week about buying some crazy little crypto. So
they're peeking their heads out above the sand. Interesting.
It could be a new buy signal, or it could be a sell
the mother of all tops.
The mother, M-O-A-T, mother of all tops.
What's the old saying? When the cabbies and barbers start asking you about it, it's time to get out. I think we are well past that point. But
yeah, the hair on the back of my neck stood up when these a few people were contacting me. So I got to be honest with you.
All right, listeners, what the heck are we talking about? Let's find out. It is time for the Bitcoin Breakdown.
It's time to explore the latest trending activity, trends, and developments across the world's leading crypto market. It's time for the Bitcoin Breakdown.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Bitcoin Breakdown, the portion of the show where we do just that. We break down all the action in the world's leading digital asset. Yep, I'm talking about the big dog, which is Bitcoin. Looking a lot bigger this week, historically big. If our buddy Uncle Mike was on the show, he would say, first off, he would never talk about Bitcoin. But if he did, he would say, never before in the history of Bitcoin has there been a better day to sell than today. And that is indeed the case. Blew past 120,000 for the first time ever this week, listeners. Got all the way up to about 122, 122.7, almost 123. Depends which venue you're looking at, listeners. Either way, new all-time highs across the board. As we're coming into the start of the show, have retreated off that a little bit, but still kissing 120,000 right now, about 119,800 out there. We're up about 12,000 handles from this time last show, listeners. 12,276 to be precise. So a wild week. What the hell is driving all this price action? Well, you heard me joking at the top of the show, but it is indeed crypto week. What does that mean, listeners? Well, Congress rolling through a whole bunch of crypto legislation this week. House Republicans calling it crypto week. As a result, they're going to vote on the Senate Act, of course, the Stablecoin Act we were talking about recently out there. So the House expected to pass that first ever real stablecoin legislation coming out of Congress. On top of that, we have a new framework they're debating for regulating crypto, maybe going to make it easier for you to get more of these assets in your retail trading accounts, which if that happens would really open the floodgates to a lot of those people Bill was talking about coming into the crypto space potentially for the first time. And if that's not enough, there's a third bill they're going to vote on, probably at the very least debate. That is to prevent the Fed from ever creating a digital version of the dollar out there. There is definitely, a core audience out there that wants to prevent that. So whichever side you fall on that one, three big initiatives all combining, Mr. Bill, to rally us to new all-time highs. What is catching your eye? What is coming across your tape? What are your thoughts as we're blowing through new all-time highs in Bitcoin, sir?
Well, what's been on my screen a lot, Mark, is this concept of the Bitcoin Treasury company, where companies like MicroStrategies, Michael Saylor from MicroStrategies started it first. Then it's MetaPlanet, which is a Japanese hotel company that is putting Bitcoin on the balance sheets. So rather than keeping cash, where cash used to be considered king on a company balance sheet, now we have KULR, Cooler Technology, Semler Scientific, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, H100 Group, I think out of France, Concilium, CINGF. So more and more every day, the degens are calling it hyper Bitcoinization, where companies are no longer just keeping cash on, in a checking account just in case, earning zero, and buying Bitcoin, which has been the greatest performing asset class in the last 15 years. So high yield bond funds and buying Bitcoin to add onto the balance sheet, selling securities, selling convertibles, selling preferreds, using all that premium, selling options, using that premium to buy intrinsic value, the most pristine asset class known to man, and that is Bitcoin. That's what's coming out across my desk.
Let's see what's coming across our desk over there from a Vol and Skew perspective. Remember, if you want to see all this data for yourselves, amberdata.io, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires, listeners. Are things looking a little bit frothier since our last show? The answer is yeah, for the most part. Depends where you're looking in the Bitcoin term structure. If you go on the weekly front, we were hanging out at a 32.3 on the 7-day vol last show. Ticking up a bit this week, 39 3/4. Makes sense. We are seeing a little bit of action out there as a result. Looking to the more standardized vol metric, the 30-day vol was a little bit north of a 36 on our last show, 36.4, 38.15, so ticking up a wee bit. Remember we said we're getting into the 30s now. You're talking some pretty anemic vol levels for Bitcoin, so just something to bear in mind if you're out there harvesting a lot of the old risk premium over there day after day. Just make sure the juice is worth the squeeze out there. And going out to where the hodlers hang out, 180-day and beyond vol, 43.65 on our last show, 43.35. So kind of treading water out there. Skew-wise, what is the Skew telling us? So if we look at the Skew right now, I think a lot of this is also impacted by the fact that we have retreated off those new all-time highs a little bit. Right as we started the show, we were hanging out at a -2 on the weekly Bitcoin Skew front. Remember, that shows you there's a premium from a vol perspective to the 25 delta put versus the 25 delta call. If all of that sounds like Greek to you, make sure you're checking out some of our educational content like Options Bootcamp or the strategy block segments of the option block that will certainly help you out there. Last week we were hanging out at about flat, about a 0.3 or so in the negative direction. So looking a little bit more negative on the near term side. But then again, we did retreat off all-time highs. So that's probably gumming up the works a little bit. Going out to the 30-day 30-day skew metric. That was flat last week as well, positive 0.15. This week, negative 1.2. So sliding, I should say, mildly to the negative, but nothing really crazy. We'll keep an eye on that and see how the skew is shaping up out there, listeners. And out to the 180-day skew, ticking up a little bit, which is kind of interesting. Hanging out at a 1 on our last show, 1 exactly, which is interesting in and of itself. Coming in this show at about a 1.6. So getting a little bit more premium to the upside, which we haven't seen in a little bit out there in the Bitcoin options realm. Bill, anything catching your eye or causing you to say, on the Bitcoin vol or skew front this week, sir?
Well, for me, I look at price first because everything else is, is a derivative of that. And the top of the 10-week moving average for Bitcoin is 127,190. So we're very, very close to that. So for me, love doing cash secured puts again for some of our rollover IRA clients. So I'm looking to skew my sales a little bit lower. Like before I was doing the 61.5, 62.5. Now that IBIT, I'm sorry, I should have gone back. IBIT, Bitcoin ETF, looking to do something a little bit further out of the money because I do think we're going to get a pullback to the middle of the bell curve, 107, 108, 110,000. But I find that because Bitcoin is risk on, I look at all the other matrices, Mark, like the VIX, short-term VIX, and the 3-month VIX. That's a really interesting indicator that's on the low end of the range, something we can talk about later if you want. So I am, of course, always optimistic with the price action that we're seeing, but then we're moving into generally the weak time of the year. We're at the top of the 10-week moving average. Volatility is just so cheap, in my opinion. So, yellow alert for me. We got to be careful here and can't just take things for granted. In your statement, make sure that the juice is worth the squeeze. I think that listeners have to be really on guard at this point.
People are doing a lot of squeezing or just a lot of buy-in in IBIT today, Mr. Bill. IBIT on fire, as you would expect. 68.20 when we kicked off the show, up 670 from our last show. Bill, the ADV continues to climb, 560,000 contracts a day. That's up 84,000 just over the past week. Blowing way past that today, nearly 2x. In fact, by the time the day is done, Mr. Bill, probably will be 2x. 1 million, just hit 1 million contracts exactly in IBIT as we were talking, Mr. Bill. So just some wild paper out. Everyone who thought maybe these Bitcoin options wouldn't come to pass last year, maybe they wouldn't really resonate. 1 million contracts a day. I haven't looked, but I guarantee you that's more than VIX today. So that's a hot day out here, Mr. Bill. Isn't that crazy?
It's a whole new world. I mean, I'm loving it. But like a few years ago, you and I were having these conversations. We're like, we're never going to get an ETF. It's just not going to happen. And now look at us.
Yeah. VIX, by the way, 585,000 contracts. So nearly 2x VIX today out there. Obviously, it's a wild week. Crypto week driving a lot of flow. The new all-time high, obviously driving a lot of flow. But still, Bill, this is just wild paper. If you're wondering what is lighting up the tape out here in IBIT today, the big dog are the 70 calls expiring this Friday. So, Bill, folks rolling those bones for Friday north of 70, going up about 38,000 times today, Mr. Bill. That's all opening. If you want to go a little bit far, you like the 70 strike, but you want to go a little bit farther out in time, how about the SEP 70s? Those are number 2, listeners. About 36, almost 37,000 of those as well. So yeah, there's some interesting flow out here, listeners. A lot. The 70s went up for 69 cents in July, if you are intrigued by that action out here, listeners. So July and SEP 70s leading the dance out here this week in IBIT, listeners. If that's not enough action for you, for all you degens out there, MSTU 1030 up $1.90 just since our last show. Putting up, again, I joke about this, Bill. This is for degens, but it had put up 82,000 contracts already. It's up to 85,000 now. So clearly there's a lot more degenerates out there than I give them credit for, Mr. Bill.
I use that term affectionately. I really do.
There's 85,000 degenerates out there today. The ADV is only 48,000. It's actually down 2,000. But after today, I got a feeling it's going to be moving in the other direction. Let's see. What is the hot thing with the degens out here today, Mr. Bill? Looks like it's the 12 calls going up 8,600 times. AUG 12s. And these are expiring on the 1st. So these are in the weeklies. When MSTR is too boring for you, Mr. Bill, then you go play an MSTU. They're buying the 12s today, looks like. Or maybe they're overriding them. It's hard to tell. Let's see. They went up for $12 out there today, 35 cents up to 47 cents. Or maybe they had a chance to overwrite those, in which case that makes a little bit more sense to me. Either way, nearly double their ADV out here, Mr. Bill. So just wild stuff. Anything else catching your eye in the world of Bitcoin and related names, Mr. Bill, before we roll on into the altcoin universe?
All right. Well, listen, Mark, I try to keep as many, oars in the water as I possibly can. What is attracting my attention is the YieldMax Bitcoin option income strategy. That symbol is YBIT. I find that really interesting. I like the YieldMax LFGY. Let's effing go. Right. That was a acronym during the crypto world. LFGY. That is all sorts of crypto companies like MicroStrategies and Coinbase and a compilation of crypto industry technology. I find that interesting. And because they buy the combo, so they buy an in the money call and sell the in the money put, and they own the combo, and then they sell call options against that combo, against that synthetic stock. And so I find that really interesting. So it's a full-time job, Mark, really just keeping track of options and crypto, the two places where I spent the last 14 years. And as you have, this is really such an exciting time. In the IBIT options, I mean, the volume is really attractive. You can do them in rollover IRAs or self-directed IRAs. There's just so much to do. There's so much opportunity, and I'm loving it. I mean, I'm really living my best life here.
If you're wondering, listeners, this YieldMax ETF, aka YBIT, trading 1091. Up about a dime today. It puts up a whopping 31 contracts a day, Mr. Bill. So not an option stalwart.
For sure. But one of our buddies from the trading floor, Scott Schneider, used to be with Thinkorswim. He's now on the YieldMax team. So he's helping, manage that portfolio of options in the ETF world. So again, some of us old OG option OEX guys are now moving into the crypto space, and it's just part of the evolution, I think, of options and crypto. We're just joining hands, and we do it like every time we talk. We do conversations about crypto and QQQ. We're doing Skew, the whole thing. So it's a lot of stuff happening, and I'm doing more and more IBIT options for clients and doing nibbling on some of these YieldMax products. So
these YieldMax products, the growth of them has been wild. There's a YieldMax just about everything you could think of out there these days, listeners. So.
Yeah, they've got like $6 billion of AUM. Yeah. I mean, and it happened really quick. I mean, they've only been up for like a year. Well, maybe a year and a half.
Go figure. People like a little bit of yield, Mr. Bill.
They do.
Do they like the altcoin universe as well? I guess let's find out, listeners.
It's time to move beyond Bitcoin and find out what's moving the rest of the crypto marketplace. It's time to boldly venture into the altcoin universe.
All right, listeners, welcome to the altcoin universe. Let's kick things off looking at the market cap as we like to do. And spoiler alert, cost you more to break into the top 10 this week. The question is, how much more? Last week, number 10 was Cardano, 20.5 billion. This week, Cardano still holding down the number 10 spot with about 26.1 billion. So quite the increase to break into the top 10. Not that long ago, listeners, it cost you 12 billion or so to roughly half this to break into the top 10. So things have definitely rallied. That rising Bitcoin tide lifting all boats out there. Number 9 is Tron, listeners, 28.5 billion worth of market cap. Number 8 is Doge, 29.9 billion. Number 7 is USD Coin, 63.5 billion. Number 6, it's Solana, 88 billion. Number 5, it's BNB, 96.3 billion. Number 4 is Tether, 159.5 billion. Number 3, Bill's wife will be happy, XRP, 174 billion worth of market cap. Number 2, it's ETH. ETH finally on a decent run again. My God, actually north of a 3,000 level. Man, we'll get to that in a second. 362.6 billion, and the big dog, it's BTC, 2.38 trillion worth of market cap. But let's get out there to the other story, Mr. Bill, that has been alternatingly frustrating and fascinating for the better part of nearly 2 years now, certainly a year and a half. This narrative started picking up last year when Bitcoin started taking off, Solana started taking off, and ETH was kind of treading water. All the ETH heads were like, what's up with ETH? How come ETH is kind of underperforming compared to the other two? Still had a decent year last year, don't get me wrong, but compared to the other two, it definitely underperformed. Everyone hoped this year Mr. Bill would be the flippening. ETH would take the #1 spot in terms of growth maybe this year and maybe steal a march on the other big crypto assets. And lo and behold, for the first half of the year, it was pretty much the worst performing asset on the planet. So not exactly a great year for the ETH bulls, but the last month and change been a wee bit better. We were at 25.26 on our last show, listeners. Coming in this week, 3,000 handle in ETH. Man, that looks good to see on the ETH screen again. Haven't seen that in quite some time. Let's see, where do we top out? 3,064 to be precise. When we kicked off the show, we were at 3,005 listeners. That still puts us up about 479 handles on the week. So again, 3,000. There were a lot of folks, and we were starting to languish, getting down low twos, threatening the 1,000 level again. A lot of folks thought maybe we would never see that level again in ETH. It seemed like maybe the capitulation was in. But that said, Mr. Bill, the rising tide lifts all boats, including ETH over 3,000. What's catching your eye, sir?
Well, it's, I believe in karma, Mark, and it's interesting that today, this morning when I came in, my pairs trade, my Solana versus Ethereum, signaled to sell Solana and buy Ethereum. And I haven't seen a signal like that in quite some time. So I'm very excited about Ether. And here's the funny thing. Just like I had mentioned before about the Bitcoin treasury companies who are just using excess cash, they're selling convertible bonds, selling option premium, issuing securities to buy Bitcoin to keep it as a pristine asset on the balance sheet. Now we're seeing companies do that with Ethereum. And it just might be the new wave going forward is we will see a Bitcoin treasury company, Ethereum treasury companies, XRP, Cardano, and on and on and on, where, cash is no longer king. And they want to hold things that have a fixed supply, assets that have a fixed supply. This just might be the start of something completely different where corporate America drives crypto prices higher. I never would have dreamed that could be the thing, but it sure seems to be having a big effect. Since of the 21 million Bitcoin, 1.15 are that's all that's left is like 1.15 billion, possibly. ETFs are buying 100,000 Bitcoin a week when we only mine, 2,000 a week or roughly. I don't know the exact number, but there's going to be a Bitcoin shortage, and maybe that's why they're looking for the junior tokens like Ethereum and soon to be Solana and other cryptos.
There we go. The flippening is happening, Bill. Just better late than never, I suppose. Very, very late, but we'll see. We'll see. Are you back in on ETH, listeners? A lot of people seem like they had maybe given up hope. Are you back on the ETH bus? Or had you jumped ship a while ago to maybe Solana or something else out there? Hit us up. Let us know. Let's look at ETH right now, listeners. We were saying on the last show, compared to Bitcoin, it's certainly looking a lot more volatile, which you would expect, but even more volatile this week. We're at about a 60 even on the show last week, 60.15 to be precise in the weekly vol, all the way up 10 points to a 70 exactly to kick off the show. So things getting a little bit frothier out there on the weekly vol front. Same deal on the monthly vol, 62 even on our show last week, 66.8 this week. So up nearly 5 handles on the 30-day vol front. And going out to where the holders live, 63.5 on our last show, 65.3. So things getting a little bit spicier across the board in ETH. Go figure, across the 3,000 handle again. Folks are getting excited. There's a little bit of juice percolating out there again. Skew-wise, things look like they're hanging out pretty flat. In fact, they're exactly flat on the weekly skew front. That's up from negative 1.7 on our show last week. So things were a little bit bearish on the show. Go figure, we rally out there in ETH options. Monthly skew was also negative on the show last week, negative 1.15, which again is pretty close to flat. Swinging the other way now, positive 1.25. And going out to where the holders hang out, positive 0.8 on the show last week, more than doubling this week to positive 1.75. And since we're talking all things ETH and altcoin, Mr. Bill. This is the name that's been entered into the lexicon for a lot of people lately, courtesy of its crazy IPO. This is Circle. It's been vacillating right around this 200 level, seemingly ever since we started watching it out here. It was 199 and a quarter when we kicked off the show, down about $0.75 from our last show. As we're coming into this part of the show, it's actually down even more. It's down to about 198 and a half, which puts it down another $0.75, puts it down about $1.50 on the week. But interestingly enough, if you're looking for another crypto-related options name that puts some paper up out there, Circle putting up some paper, 127,000 contracts today. It may sound like a lot, but it's actually light. The ADV is actually 301,000. So it's a pretty active name today, actually, weirdly enough. Not as active. The big dog out there today, 9,100 of the 200 calls, the par calls, expiring this week. So it looks like some folks rolling the bones are going to get back north of the par strike. They traded nearly $7. My goodness. That is a heck of a lot of juice for these bad boys. So if you're selling those, you're getting a decent little clip. By the way, the vol out here at a 93. So if you're wondering, that's down 5. So if you're looking for a place in the crypto space where you could sell a little vol and get paid for it, maybe Circle is your huckleberry. Mr. Bill, have you been watching all this Circle drama unfold since the last time we chatted, sir?
Only broadly, but oh my gosh, Mark, thank you so much for bringing this one to my attention. These option premiums are.
How did I know you would like that?
Oh my God, I'm going to hit the sell button before this episode is over.
You're like $7 for 1 week.
The spread width is not that bad. I mean, all things considering, you can split the bid ask in some of these options, and it's not that bad. The July 18th 200 call, like you said, it's 760, but it's 790. I mean, that's juicy. 91 vol. Oh my gosh, Mark, you are the man. And looking at the stochastic and the short-term relative strength index, Bollinger Bands. We're kind of in this could be something really interesting. And I thank you. Thank you.
There you go. See, Bill, you come on the show. It gets dangerous sometimes because you get lured to the dark side of all of this fun. Is there some dark side going on in Solana, listeners? The answer is no. The show, I should say, it's actually popping as you would expect since our last show. Up about nearly 15 handles, 14 and a half handles. We were 149.59 on our last show. This week, 164.18. Up, again, nearly 15 handles, about 14.60 on the week. So a good little run out there in Solana as well. Mr. Bill, I know you've been watching Solana. A lot of people thought it was going to steal the thunder from ETH, but ETH striking back this week. What's catching your eye in Solana, sir?
Oh, really interesting. So the only thing lately that's caught my eye with Solana is the fact that it was one of the components of the Grayscale large cap digital ETF, symbol GDLC. And it was like 79% Bitcoin, 14% Ethereum, and XRP, Solana. And so I'm excited because the name Solana is becoming more popular. Secondly, there's going to be Solana ETFs where applications were submitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission. So I can't wait for those to come up. And I haven't seen it yet, but that's the rumor, the Solana ETFs. And also one thing in the altcoin universe is these tokens, like the non-fungible tokens, community tokens that are being put on the Solana network are becoming more and more popular as even those non-fungible tokens and those crazy projects have been applied for an ETF by the SEC, and the SEC acknowledged the application, which is kind of interesting. And that's one of my picks is a Solana-based collectible and digital good token that the SEC acknowledged a spot ETF for. And I think that this is going to be really, again, more expansion of crypto products being sent to the SEC, and Wall Street is going to be resurrecting the crypto tokens.
Well, let's look here really quickly. Solana, if you're wondering, what is the monthly vol in Solana? 71 3/4. So looking spicy. It looks like it's pretty close to the level we're seeing out here in the ETH. ETH's about a 67, 71 for Solana. So again, pretty close vol-wise. Skew-wise, not that wild. 30-day skew, positive 1.5 right now in Solana, if you're wondering. But Mr. Bill, I know there was some bottle popping going on in your household this week because a good little run in XRP catching a bit as well. A 230 on our last show, 294 this week, so threatening $3 again. What was the party like in the Ulivieri household, sir?
There was no party. There was no champagne. It was more like, I told you so kind of conversation around here. Listen, very excited. I think Brad Garlinghouse met with the White House last Wednesday. Today, July 14th, is the day that the Federal Reserve or the Fed acknowledges the ISO 222 blockchain rails. You know, that project was supposed to come out and roll out in March, and it was pushed forward to July 14th weekend. So as of right now, as we speak, ISO 222 tokens, we spoke about that on an episode, XRP, XDC, XLM, and several other ISO 222 compliant tokens. This is the weekend, Mark. This was it. Today's the day. Excellent that we were able to chat about this. So onward and upward, man. The velocity of money, I think, is going to explode because it doesn't need to sit for a 3 or 4 day weekend. And you can reach people globally with a $25 Nokia phone. So we're just in the early stages of a real revolution in the payment of money, how money works, Visa network. I mean, it's just, I can't keep track of all the projects and people that are adopting blockchain technology, Mark. It's just too much. It's a full-time job.
If only there was a show that could help track such things for you.
Only.
Mr. Bill. Let's see if we can run down some of the rest of the altcoin universe, and we'll see what else is lighting up Bill's wallet this week. Out to Bill's favorite Doge we go. 1667 on our last show. 1989 this week. A good year and a good level for Doge. Up a little over 3, about 3.25 cents. Litecoin catching a bit as well. 85.37 on our last show. 95.39 this week's up almost exactly $10. 10.02 to be precise. So a good little run here for Litecoin. Cardano 57.8 cents last week, 73.6 cents this week, up about nearly 16 cents. Polkadot 336 last week, 397 this week. And everybody's beloved Shiba Inu, 1,000,000 zeros 1-1 this week, 1,000,000 zeros 13.3. So maybe you can finally get some of those lug nuts on your Shiba Lambos. That said, Mr. Bill, what is catching your eye in the rest of the altcoin universe this week? So any other hot altcoin lighting up your wallet you want to share with the folks?
Yes, I do. And you're going to make fun of me, but I don't care. This token that is lighting up my dashboard this is a fun one. Like all the other ones were decentralized finance or like very serious. This is fun. It's Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is the NFT.
Sounds like an NFT thing. Yeah, exactly.
Right, we're back to that. So it's trading at about 2.89 cents. It has a market cap of about 1.79 billion. But here's the funny thing, Mark, and I'm actually laughing out loud when I read this. That is Pudgy Penguins submitted an application to the Securities and Exchange Commission to create a spot Pudgy Penguin ETF that's filed by Canary Capital. That happened on July 10th. And then on July 12th, Coinbase changed its NFT on its website to a Pudgy Penguin in order to build community and excitement about with the renewed hopes of a Pudgy Penguin spot ETF. So that's it. This is a fun one. Do your own research. Pudgy Penguins past performance is no indication of future returns, but that's going to be my call. Something fun on a Solana network, Pudgy Penguins, because I had read an article that they're going to be coming out like with movies and swag and stuff for kids this fall. Now that's just a rumor. Don't know if it's true. Again, do your own research. But Pudgy Penguin is going to be the token for the rest of 2025.
So we've moved on from bored apes to Pudgy Penguins now in NFT land. Listen, are you down with all these crazy anthropomorphic animals? Hit us up and let us know. Speaking of letting us know, let's get to a little bit of your crypto questions.
You've got questions about crypto. Who doesn't? It's time to find out the answers to your crypto questions.
All right, everybody, let's get to the question of the week, the question that is dominating a lot of people's tapes right now, given the fact that it is crypto week, Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs. As Bill said, a lot of his even more reticent clients kind of coming out of the woodwork asking about these crazy crypto things, which raises the question, listeners. It's crypto week, as we said, in Congress. Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high. So we thought we'd ask you this week, which crypto asset do you feel has the most upside potential in the second half of 2025? We kept things simple. You know, you're talking your top 3, top 5 kind of assets out here. Of course, your Bitcoin, of course, your Solana, and your ETH. We also gave you room for the infamous other. I'm waiting for your write-ins. Maybe we'll get a Pudgy Penguin write-in, Mr. Bill. I'm looking forward to that. But right now, what is your vote? And also, which way do you think our audience is going?
My vote?
Yes. What is your vote? I have Solana, Bitcoin, and ETH right now. You think they're going for one of those? Or you think they're going for something else? And also, what is your vote for the crypto asset with the most upside the second half of 2025, sir?
Boy, Mark, listen, this is really tough. I'm going to go with Bitcoin. I'm going to go with the favorite. I'm going to go with Bitcoin. I think that's my call.
You think the audience is going that way? Is the audience going that way as well? They're going for the big dog?
It looks like you've got 47.4% Bitcoin.
Oh, you're cheating. You're looking at the results. So, yes, you know the answer. You know the answer.
Trying to enhance my returns. That's all. I'm sorry. I wasn't cheating.
So, yes, almost half, 47 I just ticked 45%. They heard you. It ticked down. 45% right now, Mr. Bill, going for the big dog, which is Bitcoin. 30% for ETH. I think that's kind of fascinating. Maybe ETH having a bit of a resurgence here and bringing up the rear. 25% for Solana. No weird write-ins. I was looking forward to the weird write-ins, but it just went live about an hour ago. This will be live throughout the rest of the week, so get over there at Options and make your voice heard. And if you got a weird write-in, maybe you got a Pudgy Penguin or something else you want to write in, get in there and make your voice heard. All right, that music means we've come to the end of a crypto week sojourn. Mr. Bill, how was it? You having fun here to kick off your crypto week, sir?
Mark, I enjoy our time together on your show. Absolutely the best part of my life. It's so much fun because I get to talk about everything that I love, options and crypto and volatility. And, you know, I know that my perspective as a, investment advisor is a little bit different than maybe your educators and your floor traders and people that come on, but I really do appreciate you giving me an opportunity to share my my perspective, and I love it. I mean, I really do. It's you've given me some great ideas, and when I get off this call with you, I am selling some downside circle.
You're selling some circle.
I can't. It's so juicy. So juicy.
Selling some circle. Yeah, I knew those numbers would leap up. They kind of leapt off the page to me too, quite frankly. That's a lot. It's a lot of juice. We're talking 30 vols in Bitcoin, and here's nearly triple digits in Circle. So definitely attractive out there. And if folks want to reach out to you, Mr. Bill, maybe talk about some puffy penguins in some more detail, where should they go? What should they do?
Sure. Well, CenacleCapital.com is our website. You can reach out to us using the form handler or grab our phone number off the website and call and leave a message. You can reach out. I don't do any kind of Twitter messages or anything like that, so that would not be a way to get a hold of us. So just go to the website, give us a call, leave a message, or send an email using the form handler, and we could, again, we advise clients on their self-sovereign holdings on Coinbase, and we also, again, do cash-secured puts, covered call writing for clients, and then use those proceeds to buy cash Bitcoin through the IBIT ETF. So a lot of interesting, more and more degens coming on board. We're converting our money market only clients they're coming out of the woodwork based on what's going on. Our guys that have gold hands are beginning to shed their gold and buy Bitcoin. So it's a really interesting time. I think I'm really excited about the growth that this industry has experienced and what we can look forward to in the next year.
There you go. Check them out, listeners, if you haven't done so already. All those places he mentioned, of course. Don't message him on Twitter, but you can follow him on Twitter at Cenacle Capital, Cenacle, all one word. And while you're checking things out online, make sure you check out our friends over there at Amber Data, amberdata.io. You literally have no excuse. That GUI is now completely free. All that data we talk about and a whole bunch more. They're adding Circle in as we speak and everything else. So hardcores like Bill can get lured to the dark side. All that free data. Amberdata.io, the place to go to kick the tires and light the fire. So if you want to do a build that, you want to look at that vol and say, that's kind of attractive. amberdata.io, the place to go to begin your journey. That's going to bring to a close most of our journey. I say most because we have the newest addition to the network coming up a little bit later. Stay tuned. If you're on the on-demand side, you will be greeted with episode 1 now. We had the premiere last week for the pro members. Now the inaugural episode 1 of the latest addition to the network, the Hot Options Report. That's going to be coming to you every day after the close, so look forward to that. Should be a fun one out there. Back again tomorrow for all you pro folks. We'll be joined by our good buddy, Mr. Constantine, the Last Emperor Vandapulo, from Fidelity to tackle all of your questions in the pro Q&A session, as well as Options Oddities later this week. All the other fun, you want to check that out. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more about that. Then we're back again next Monday. Who knows what wild stuff will be in store for us. That's why you got to tune into the Crypto Rundown every week. And stay safe out there, everybody.
The Crypto Rundown is brought to you by Amber Data. If you're entering the digital asset class, you'll need access to granular on-chain and market data from multiple venues to power research, trading, risk management, and compliance. Amber Data delivers comprehensive data and insights into blockchain networks, crypto markets, and decentralized finance, empowering financial institutions to apply traditional finance methods to digital assets. Amber Data eliminates the infrastructure setup, integration challenges, and maintenance headaches to access digital asset data, reducing cost and time to market to enter the digital asset class. Learn more and download their digital asset data guide at www.amberdata.io. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.